Howdy guys, how's it going? So I am sorry for the 3-week gap in videos. I ended up having the water pump on my PC go out, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, like I'll put a picture up on the screen so you can see, but I've got like a gaming PC that I built, and I use it for work, for trading, for editing videos, for gaming, all that good old stuff. So that's the main reason why there's been such a gap. But right now we've got some like unusually warm weather for it to be February. Like the high today is 66. And the weather's been pretty just like all over the place, zigzagging up and down. And most of the time that I've had free to go camping, it's been jumping up into the high 50s, low 60s. And I don't really enjoy camping in this type of weather nearly as much as I do when it's cold. But the good news is in about 2 days it's going to start dipping back down into the 20s, so we can get back into the bushcraft stuff, and I've got some really fun, cool things planned. But it's been raining for the past 2.5 days, so everything is completely soaked. A good gap in the rain today, so it's not supposed to start raining again until around midnight tonight, but it's supposed to come like some very heavy rain later on tonight, you know, into the early morning. So I want to come out here. It's just after lunchtime, and I'm extremely hungry because I did not eat lunch. I decided to go ahead and hike out. I'm going to take and make some scrambled eggs with cheese for lunch after we get the tarp and all this stuff set up. I brought a cheap, like one of those cheap blue Walmart tarps that I just had sitting in the building to give some additional, you know, coverage for whenever it does start raining. But yeah, I just want to get out, chill, have a good time. Took and downloaded a couple shows on Netflix on my cellular device, and also took and bought a couple new power banks, so I, you know, don't have to worry about my phone dying or anything like that. And I've also brought out a sleeping bag that I've not used in like 7 years, so I'm looking forward to breaking that out, because tonight it's supposed to dip down to 44 or 46 degrees, so not too cold at all. Like right now, I mean, with the humidity and stuff, I'm sweating as it is. But let's take and try to get this hammock up without getting it too moist. All right, this is gonna be close. I don't know if this is gonna be long enough or not. If it ain't, then I might have to go back to the old drawing board. Got all my stuff laid out on that if I need it later. I'm going to take and use this kind of as my ground sheet, and this will give us something we can lay our hammock on so it don't get wet. Lucky, please. Yes, sweet. That will definitely work. That's a bit high though. It was close though. We ended up having a little bit more over there than I thought we would, but I definitely don't think I've got enough on these pre-tied guidelines for this tarp, but okay, I want to take and go ahead and get my bed system set up, and then we'll get on to doing some food. But I don't even know if I'm going to end up using that blue tarp, because this thing right here has really good coverage, and I can still do all my cooking and stuff on this side. And it's not supposed to be windy. I think the highest winds that it said we could expect to be like 8 miles an hour, which is nothing. So I'll think about it. I'll play around with it and see what we come up with. So yeah, this is the sleeping bag I was talking about, Coleman Cayman. It doesn't have a temperature rating on it. It says X32, so I think this thing's definitely, like, it's definitely gonna be enough to get down to you know, to handle the 44 degree. And plus I brought a sweatshirt if I need it, but I mean, I'm somebody, I get really hot anyways. Does it have a temperature rating on it? It might have a temperature in the tag, but we'll get that out. It's got like this reflective outside, and then it has a double. Wait, does this one have a double layer inside? No, okay. Well, I'm just worried that my sleeping pad's not going to be able to inflate very well on the inside of it, so I may or may not end up having to, you know, just have it on the inside of on the outside of the sleeping bag. But I'm hoping that's not the case, because, well, we're on this hill. I don't want to be sliding around all night. You know, now that I think about it, I probably could have brought that yoga mat and it would have done just fine, but this is a little bit more comfortable, I would say. You know, honestly, I don't think we really need this. If something happens and it turns out we do, then we got it, but that underneath area right there, with just the green tarp, is going to be plenty. This will be something a bit extra to sit on right now, though. So I do plan on having a fire later, but for right now, it's time to try to get some food going. I brought my MSR, I always want to say this is the Pocket Rocket. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, but I took and brought, I got 5 eggs with me, and I got some cheese, got a little bit of hot sauce, and I got some salt and pepper. And then for tonight, before we hit the hay, got some Dinty Moore beef stew, and we'll just take and cook that up in the same pan later on. But yeah, this little hard lock and lock case is what I, you know, put the eggs in. I kind of like weave some paper towels in between them, and from hiking in, moving the bag around, doesn't look like we got any crackage going on. And I got my Chinook folding skillet. The cheese and stuff is in a bag in there. It's been a while since I've used this Chinook folding skillet. It's anodized aluminum. It's like I find myself using pots and stuff a lot more than, you know, like frying pans. But I couldn't find my tinier bottle of the of this Isopro fuel, but might as well go ahead and crack open the big one. Now I just got to try to make sure I get all this stuff balanced right. Everything's soaking wet. Good practice for starting a fire later, though. I got to make a spatula. I knew I was forgetting something. So we got a nice little green piece of yellow poplar. There's that there. We got our cheese. That's some Old Bay for the beef stew later. I brought that utensil packet because it has some salt and pepper, and that's some salt and pepper from another utensil packet. Sweet. Alright, I'm gonna splash just a wee bit of water in the pan. I didn't have a good way to bring any oil. Oh yeah, I didn't want to bring a whole bottle of hot sauce, so this is some hot sauce from an MRE meal. I don't know how old this is. This might be 5 years old. It might be a year old. I really don't remember. I just found it in my drawer. Oh my God, I'm honestly, I'm such a professional. Gordon Ramsay better watch out. And again, a little eggshell never killed anybody. At least I don't think it has. I mean, I'm sure somebody's probably choked to death on an eggshell before. So better not get too ahead of myself. But boom. There we go. We got 5. I don't want to tilt that because I know I'm going to spill it. Okay. Before I start scrambling those up, let's get the old stove going. Also better set this over here so I don't get all this sawdust in it. I'm gonna get them yolks and everything kind of mixed together. And if you're wondering why I made this spatula, one, it's because, well, mainly because you're not supposed to use metal with this pan because it's got some type of coating on it. I don't want to scratch it and get it all messed up. Plus, it's better to have something with a little bit more surface area to scramble eggs. I'm just hoping we don't have any issues with sticking because I do want to use this pan again later on for my beef stew, and I would prefer to not have to do any in-depth cleaning. I do have a creek right down there at the bottom of this holler I'm in, but there. I'm pretty sure I've got it on relatively low heat. I'm just going to kind of move the pan around a little bit. I like my scrambled eggs moist, let's put it that way. That's like the biggest gripe I have. Anytime I try to order like scrambled eggs at a restaurant or a diner or something, I feel like they're always like overcooked. We almost there, baby. We almost there. Boom, that is all she wrote. Now it's time for that cheese. Sprinkle some cheese in there. Maybe warm it just a little bit more. And I like a good, healthy amount of cheese. You feel me? Like I'll stir it up in there first and kind of see what it looks like. We'll let that metal bit cool down. Ouch, there's a briar stem right there. So boom, there we go. We got our scrambled eggs with the chaws. I've got my metal eating utensil do-jig with me, but I'll wait and I'll use that later tonight with a stew, so I ain't got to take and do as minimum dishes as possible. So just one of these salt and pepper do-jigs might be enough, but I'm not sure. They put so little pepper in there, Jesus. Okay. Now here's the moment of truth that I'm worried about, this hot sauce. I'm going to take and get a risk ruining my eggs. And there's really not that much in here anyways. Okay, that hot sauce is definitely not, and yep, that's expired. Alright, I will burn that later. Dang it. These right here will be really good. Just gotta make sure I don't melt my fork. Oh yeah. I ain't got hot sauce. I'm gonna put a little bit more salt on this other side. That was delicious, and I'm glad to say we had nothing stick to the pan. And like I said, all we done was add water, no oil, no nothing. So I'm gonna take and run down here to the creek and wash this out, and then I'm gonna come back up here, clean this up, and we'll get a fire going. Oh, Jesus. Clean as can be, baby. That's a steep hill. Okay, so now as far as the fire is concerned, you know, we're not having one for warmth. We're just having one to chill by and hang out. So I'm gonna take the clear spot up here. We're a good, let's see, probably 10 foot away from the tarp shelter. Plus there's this laurel bush right here that'll help block any rising embers or anything from hopping up and landing over on the tarp itself. Paper bag with some of that that twisted wax stuff you see me use before. It's actually the last piece I got. When it's just damp, it'd be a good idea if you want to like build a platform or something. But with this tinder and these dry pieces of pine, like they're still damp, but the ends of these dead pine dry out super quick where they're so thin. It's composed of. It's going, it'll burn for, I'd say, at least a minute, which is more than enough to get stuff this size going, even if it was soaking wet. Paper bag just started to absorb a little bit of moisture off the ground, which is where, like I said, having a platform would come in handy. But it'll get it going. If anything, that little bit of heat exposure gives it time to dry out that small stuff near the edge. The fire going, and the sun's actually starting to peek out a little bit. I just looked up the weather. It's still being consistent, saying that there's a 86% chance of rain starting around midnight. There's just like a 10% chance between now and then for it starting early, and then it goes all the way up to 96% chance once we get into like 1-2 a.m. and it's supposed to go all the way up until I think about 10 a.m. tomorrow. So you know, we'll see. Right now, it is about, I don't know why I always, like I wear a watch except for when I'm in the woods because I got like a Samsung watch, so like there's really no point in having a digital watch out here and, you know, risk breaking it. But yeah, right now I think it's about 3 o'clock, roughly 3 o'clock. It's starting to get, you know, it's starting to stay light longer and get dark later. So the sun now don't set until about 6:30ish, 6:45, and you know it's moving back a little bit more each and every day. But yeah, I'm just gonna take and chill out. Might even crawl in the hammock here in a bit and just rest a little bit because I mean, being in direct sunlight with this one spot, like my hammock's in a shady spot, anyways, and then being under the tarp, you know, helps that much more. I'm really thinking that tonight I'm going to end up just sleeping on top of my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad, especially because like I'm thinking that if I sleep in the sleeping bag just with this shirt on and then my pants, that is going to, Jesus Christ, smoke just smothered me to death. It'd be a shame to die of smoke inhalation just standing out here in the open. Being in the sleeping bag with my pants and then just this shirt I think is going to be too warm even if I had the bag open. So what I'll probably do is sleep on top of it, and then if there is any issue, I can always get in it, or I can just take and put on that hoodie that I brought with me, and we'll be fine and dandy. But just with this and this pants, because like I said, I prefer it to be as cold as possible. So we'll just have to play it by ear. I'm gonna get some more wood, just chill out, probably go ahead and start one of those movies on my phone, and the next thing to do is just take and have some dinner later on this evening. That beef stew will be really good, and I got that Old Bay seasoning. And I think what I'm going to do with that blue tarp is just take, and before I go to bed, I'm going to cover up my gear, because where I'm on this hill, I've got plenty of coverage overhead, so I don't think it'll be a problem, but just in case it was to kind of come in at an angle or blow in, I'm going to take and put that blue tarp, kind of tuck it all up underneath before I go to bed, and then in the morning that'll ensure that that green platform and my boots are 100% dry, and I'll have something to step on without getting my feet wet. And then we can just take and, you know, roll that thing up, tie it up, and I'll have to take and set everything up when I get home. Okay, so it is about 6:10, 6:15. That's really hot. Let's take it. I'm still going to take and warm up our beef stew in our pan over here on the stove, just because, one, for whatever reason, like the design of that stove, it gets extremely like gunked up on the bottom, like regardless of like if you use hardwood. Like anybody that has a lot of experience knows that like if you use, you know, pine or anything that has a lot of sap, which is like mainly the coniferous trees, like they'll take and gunk up any pan or anything, but that one just collects on to any type of wood I've ever used. But we'll get the pocket rocket back out. We'll use it, take and warm up our beef stew, and I've got you probably can't see it on the camera, but I've got probably just about like one decent armload of wood, just so we can take and chill out. It's going to be pitch black within the next like 45 minutes. So like my plan is like just to hop in the hammock, chill out, watch some movies, go to sleep, because I'm very tired. Got our fire going, but we're gonna break out the old pocket rocket once again. We just throw it around everywhere. By this point, we're very comfortable. I can see the clouds rolling in over there to the far left, but like they shouldn't get here for at least a couple more hours. Like the beef stew is gonna be like a lot easier to deal with, as far as compared to the scrambled eggs, because there's no cooking involved. It's all about heating. You should be able to get by with pretty low heat, I would say. I want to take and get this can cracked open before we get the pot on there. Anytime I open a can of stuff like that, like I'll leave it sitting a good 20-30 foot away from like where I'm camping, but I always, you know, pack it out with me. We're not going to be scraping this, just stirring it. So like I'm going to make sure that like the tips of the fork never comes in contact with the actual bottom of the pan. Got this about where we want it. Let's take and break out the good old bay. Turn this down so we don't waste too much. Like, oh, hello, wrong direction. You know, to me, it's crazy how long that lasts, because I've got that, like the half the size of that tank, so like the skinny tank, that's what I call it, and it's only halfway empty on that one. So like I feel like one of these large ones could last you like a really good hot minute. So I have got this. This was a yellow mustard from McCormick's. Yep, McCormick's yellow mustard mini do jig here. I took and emptied it out, washed it, dried it, washed it again, dried it again, and then put Old Bay in it. And it doesn't have a shaker side. It's just an open top, but it has a very tight lid on it. And so far, not had any issue carrying it. But for this, like, I mean, I'm somebody personally, like, I know what my preference is. So it's one of those things where you got to find it yourself. But to control the amount that comes out, all you got to do is, you know, like, as soon as you pop it open, let it kind of come down on its own, and then just sprinkle it. because I like it heavy. So there we go. That was a lot for most people's taste, but for me, that's probably not enough. But it's hot. God dang it, right there. That's good. Oh, that was a really good dinner, man. It's about 8:30 right now. So I'm gonna take and watch that for a minute, but we need to go over here and kind of get our sleeping system figured out because it's getting a lot cloudier. Like where I got that light on, I don't know if it'll actually show the sky stuff, but I think now I'm just gonna take and try to climb into the hammock and get comfortable and start watching some of my movies, because once it starts raining, it's gonna be a lot harder to actually get situated within the hammock itself. And based on the way the clouds look, it might start raining a bit sooner than the weather has predicted. So I'm going to take and put this away. I got something I can wrap this in. Like, I'll clean this fully whenever I get back to the house. But that was a very good dinner. Since the downside of the hill is this way, I'm going to scoot this right here just to have a place to rest my feet after I take my boots off. But first and foremost, we're going to take and unzip the upper end here. Pull that down. The air mattress that we got blowed up still feels extremely good. Just want to make sure I don't get none of the potential like mud and stuff on that's on the bottom of those boots. On my tarp, so that way we got something to sit on. And then I can stand those up right there, and there's definitely no way any water could potentially get down on that. So, we've not tested out the hammock yet. But based on our knots, we should be good. So now, as long as we can get into our yeah, like I said, I think I'm definitely going to end up sleeping on top of these. I mean, obviously on top of the pad, but also on top of the bag itself. Another phenomenal night of sleeping, ladies and gentle titties. So now I'm going to take and make sure the fire dies down. I'll take and hop back out and get the camera so you can, like, I'll show you guys that I can see the fire plenty fine and what it looks like on the inside of the on the inside of the hammock. Okay, so yeah, this is the inside of the hammock, and set up my phone to where I can watch my movie in a very comfortable position. Is there's these drawstrings right there, if that'll show, like there's a pocket, but then we got these little hooks right here. So I'm going to try to rig up something to where I can kind of position my phone right here in the opposite direction, and actually, you know, watch a movie and have it in a comfortable position without having a helicopter spotlight in my eyes. So yeah, if I don't check back in before morning, that means I went and fell asleep. But I mean, like, the thing is, like, look at all the space you've got in this thing right here. Like, that right there, that's a wall from like my hip up to there. That's a good additional like 1.5 to 2 foot. And on this side, because of the angle we're at, that's another, well, at least 1 foot. So I'm going to take, that goes on the outside. I'm going to take and zip this up. Oh, I'm going to get comfy and then hit the hay. But right now, just with having the sleeping pad, I mean, I'm more than warm. Like, if I get cold, then I'm just like going to get inside my sleeping bag. But I don't think I'm going to need to do that. between like this, like the cover over top from the tarp and then this, like, you know, the real test is going to be like whenever it starts raining around midnight to 1 a.m. It is absolutely coming down. But so far, the tarp configuration that I got up is phenomenal. Like, it's working great. My gear seems to be fine. I'm really sorry about, like, there's not much I can do about showing the stuff, but it's been raining like this for a good hour or so, so we're doing good. This sleeping bag is extremely warm. I have took and crawled into it. I've got this upper end open. It is a beautiful morning. It's still raining. But all in all, that was a very comfortable night's sleep. I'm very pleased though, like with how waterproof and like how well the tarp took and, like, you know, held the rain. This sleeping bag was more than enough for like down to like 45 degrees. So that's a good metric to know. But as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. You know, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, share your friends, check the links in the description of my other channels. Keep in the comments section, and until the next one, adios.